Word.
Awesome.
Right. So, man, this is episode number 6 of
Word.
Non-Talk Podcast. I'm here with Wilce, who is a poet.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so we actually kind of like we bumped into each other at an event called Brown Sugar. It was pretty dope.
It was really dope, actually. That was a good night.
Yeah, it really was, man. Like I had a great time. It was like I wanted to like take my jacket off so I could like dance a little more, but I don't know. I was like I was just nervous, but yeah, that was a great vibe. Like I like
sure.
stuff like that.
Shout out to DJ Kensworth. It was his birthday that night and everything. That's my cousin, so big ups to him. That was also my birthday weekend, so
Word.
It was definitely great vibes all weekend long. So yeah, you know.
Nah, that's good, man. So how you doing today?
I'm trying to get it all together. Literally on my way over here, I like fell asleep at the red light, and I was like, "Oh shit!" I like, looked around and everything. No one honked or anything. It was crazy. They're kind of different over here in Austin, so I'm trying to get used to it. But nah, I'm good. Just trying to get my mind right, you know.
Nah, I hear that, man. Cause like I could say firsthand, like I just started getting better from like a situation I had. Like I was all the way out my element, and I was like, I know that's not me. You know what I'm saying? Like I was just like how I am right now. I was the complete opposite. Like just angry. You know what I'm saying? Just like full of rage and stuff. And like after reflecting on it, like I called my roommate right away. He came, like, and then we just chopped it up. And like the people I was with, like I chopped it up with them too. And it was just like, oh, like first of all, like just relax, you know, because like stuff is always gonna hit the fan, but it's all about how you handle the situation. Right. So like it was just like needing to relax and like calm down and kind of talk about it. Like for me, I like to talk about my stuff because that definitely helps me feel better.
What was it about that situation that kind of got you out of your element, where you got to like kind of get caught up in the anger aspect of things? Like what was it about that specific situation that got you there?
So I think it was well, first of all, I'd had a lot of alcohol, right?
Well, what was you sipping? Hold up.
So I had Crown. Crown is like my favorite type of drink.
That's that OG shit.
Yeah, and I had that with I think I had that in a drink. No, I had that straight. Actually, I lied. I did have it in a drink, and then before that, I had another drink of I don't know if you heard of Don Papa. Yeah, I had some of that too, like before I got inside. So yeah, I had a lot because it was like about a water bottle size, so like probably about the size of this.
Right.
So I had one of those and then like half of another one because my friend didn't want to drink hers. Yeah, man. So you know, like it was already kind of off to it. Not a bad start because the night was fun. Like I will say that, but like it was just like just tensions and like into like being like insecure with myself, not being able to like process it and kind of saying like, okay, well, I don't know how this situation is gonna play out in the long run. You know what I mean? Like I was just freaking myself out. But yeah, like just kind of talking about it like that really helped the situation.
That's what's up. That's dope that you have like people that you can rely on to be able to talk about certain feelings that you can't necessarily process through yourself. You know what I'm saying? So, that's dope.
Yeah, for sure, man. So the topic of the day is masculinity. So
heavy.
I definitely like this is something that I think this is gonna be a good conversation because I know a lot of people who are like who put on a like they're not fully in tune with their masculinity. You know what I'm saying? Like they like from a young age we're kind of conditioned to believe a certain way like about being a man and stuff, like whether it's like emotions or like, you know, you gotta be like, you gotta know sports and stuff like that, like you gotta tough. You know what I mean, like you gotta like all that, and there's a good amount of people to where like they just kind of like they live in that and they don't want to be in tune with anything else and stuff. Because honestly, like me, I know myself. kind of well. I think that like I'm very in tune with my emotions and like how I am as a person. I have no problem feeling my emotions. Like you got to go through it to grow through it.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? And then like,
I would definitely agree with that statement though. Like that's actually that's dope. You got to grow through it to go through it. You got to go through it to grow through it rather. But I feel like a lot of men specifically, we're not really allowed that same grace to be able to feel emotions. So we're kind of like taught from a very young age to kind of push all those emotions down and don't really acknowledge them. Kind of just like, oh, you can take it out on the field, or like, oh, leave it all on the court, stuff like that. That kind of just conditions us to not really accept the emotions that we're feeling in the moment and kind of just use it as fuel rather than just understanding them and like kind of finding our own peace with that. So I feel like it's a cultural thing for sure. Just in America, like that's what we do, but I wouldn't even just say America, it's definitely global. But yeah, it goes deep, man. And it's also interconnected with gender as well. It's not just a matter of like, oh, boys get this and girls get that, but then you have to look at the different kind of spectrum of gender itself and how like you can be born a man like physically in your body, but if you don't feel like that, then like what do you do with masculinity at that point? Like it gets crazy for sure.
Yeah. So sorry, I'm like trying.
No, you good.
I made like one of those word web things, like kind of like I was trying to figure out where to start. But yeah, so like with being tough, because I've been in situations where like, you know, you don't want to be known as like oh, you're not gonna do it, oh, you a bitch, right, kind of thing, you know what I'm saying? So because like even like this past year, like when I was in before I finished school, like me and my roommates, like my suite mates, we would like we'd always grab like Coronas and like we just have them in the apartment and like just sip and stuff, whatever. And then like out of nowhere it'd be like, you won't drink that right now, like you're damn right. It'd be like, oh, so you a bitch now? It's like, damn, well, like I gotta do it, you know what I mean? And like just hearing that is like, it can kind of make people, or like the male, like make us want to like, oh, well, I'm not a bitch, so I have to do it, you know what I mean? Right. Like just that kind of battle with oneself.
I feel like that's kind of like just competitive nature though. Like I don't think that's necessarily like masculinity, just because like if someone calls you out like, oh, you won't do that, but you know it's within your power that you can, like anybody that has like a competitive drive is gonna be like, nah, fuck all that, I ain't trying to hear it, I'm gonna do it.
That's
what
I mean.
So it's just like I feel like men kind of just get branched all together and be like, oh, like we just hold each other to that competitive standard a lot higher, or like a lot more openly than a lot of other people get to. And I don't know, that's kind of interesting. I never thought about it like that though.
And like on that, yeah, like on the flip side, like hearing that side is like, yeah, that is competitive, you know what I mean? Because I'm like, you know, I'm pretty sure like most of us was growing up like playing sports or whatever, so yeah, like I love competition. Like me and my roommate, like one of those nights, like me and my roommate was he was like, yo, I'll race you around the whole parking lot. Like we both like drunk as hell, but like we was just like we both
with the shits.
Yeah, like we got all dressed up, went outside and like started running around. Like granted, he won because he does distance. Yeah, you know, he does distance. I do sprint. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. I already told him we could get that again. We could do a sprint and I'm gonna take that. But yeah, like like that competitive nature definitely like does play a role in that. That's a really good one. I like that.
I mean, I feel like that's important though. Like even though like masculinity kind of gets this negative rap with like toxicity and everything like that because of like the patriarchy and the way that men have used their power and privilege to be able to push down the minority groups, specifically women. Even though all that is true, like I feel like there's still good things within masculinity, like just being like the competitive drive, being able to like hold each other to a certain standard, being able to be very direct and understanding of like what needs to get done, being able to compartmentalize emotions and be able to recognize that like this is something that's temporary, what can we do right now to solve it, kind of a thing. And like shout out to the women out there, of course, but at the same time, like y'all kind of get off your rocker when it's like when emotions get involved, you know what I'm saying? So like it's good to be able to have that balance of emotions, to be able to tap into your feminine energy and your masculine energy, and be able to discern which one is appropriate for the situation that you're in. But overall, it's just like, I feel like right now as a culture, we're kind of just like demonizing men as a whole and saying like, all this energy that you have as a man, like trash, throw that away, and get hip to like how I'm thinking of it. It's just like, nah, this is still valid. We need that balance, that back and forth. So I don't know, I feel like we're coming into a renaissance of a whole lot of different things, and just trying to understand it all is tough, you know.
So could you like explain a little bit about like the demonizing that energy? Just
I mean, like, just the whole men are trash narrative that's been going on for the past few years.
Yeah,
just saying how, like, specifically black men, and like as a black man, of course, I'm gonna take a bit of I'm gonna take that, you know, I'm gonna hold it in and like kind of push that same energy like back out into the universe. If you're telling me I'm trash, of course I'm gonna internalize it, and then I'm gonna push it out into the universe. So it's tough to on a day-to-day basis recognize all of the different, how can I explain this? All of the different ways that we add on to the patriarchy being the idea of men being better than women, or whatever that may be. But overall, it's just a matter of being aware of your situations, being aware of yourself and all that you do, and just hoping for the best. But overall, I'm kind of just sick of the men is trash narrative. I say it all that to say that.
Nah, because like I definitely agree. With me, like I know that I'm a like, what's the word? A nonchalant person. So like, cause I see that and I'm like, all right, you saying that like to the women who do say that and believe that wholeheartedly. Like sometimes I joke, I'll be like, oh yeah, like, you know, I'm trash, I ain't shit, whatever.
Facts.
But like, realistically, I know who I am, and like, if a woman is saying that men are trash, I look at it as, no, not all men are trash. It's just the men that you associate yourself with.
Of course.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like little things like that, just kind of like reframing it that I like to do, because it's like, if someone's saying something, like, obviously it's whatever's around them that's going on that had to have an effect on that. So like the men that a certain woman has chosen to talk to or, you know, be around, that's on them. Like, that's strictly your choice. And if they're trash, then you should probably get new friends. Right. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's as simple as that. For the most part, like, I think stuff is like almost black and white. I know like it's not really always black and white, but like I like to kind of simple, like the whole simple thing is like that kind of works best for me.
No, I feel that. My whole thing is like more like a question is like, when you use that reframing mindset, like, isn't that kind of like a way for people that actually are trash to kind of like not take whole responsibility for the actions that they do? Just be like, oh nah, you're not talking about me, even though like you just smashed through like 17 different shorties this past week, and it's just like, oh, but like she talking about the dudes that she messed with, not me, even though she might not know your whole situation. But that reframing kind of like reinforces that lack of responsibility over your actions. So it's just like, it's give and take. Like, how do you discern which way you want to go with that? Do you just like say, oh, okay, like she's saying this because of X, Y, and Z over the men that she's dealt with, so what are the characteristics of those men that I also have? And at that point, I feel like that's when we'll really start to dismantle these ideas of like, oh, okay, like she doesn't like, she sees things like this because of XYZ that happened to her. But like, I went through a situation that was elemental P very similar to XYZ, but I'm still not giving myself accountability to whoever that other person is that I'm dealing with, and still perpetuating that same cycle of trashness. So how do we hold each other accountable, more so, is my question, and seeing like when it needs to be reframed and when it's just not taking accountability.
Because I definitely think that we need to start holding our brothers accountable and stuff, you know, like if they are like with the girl or whatever and stuff, and like if you notice them being trapped, you probably won't have to call that in the moment or whatever, you know, but like if you get a chance to kind of talk to them, like pull them aside, be like, oh bro, like
the fuck is you
like
doing?
yeah, like you sure bro, like come on man, you know you fucking up. Cause like I have no problem with that. Like if I'm ever doing something wrong, like I want people to tell me that I'm doing wrong so I can correct it. Like I love constructive criticism. And like I have kind of grown to take responsibility for my actions. I know that yeah, I haven't been the best person, especially like I know there was one girl like I had a situation with. Things didn't work out. Like we don't speak anymore. But I'm honest with myself, and I'm like, okay, like I know that I could have handled that situation better. Like I definitely hold myself accountable. That's something that like you got to do like with your brothers. Like if you see them doing wrong, call them out on it. Like don't be afraid. Like it don't matter if you scared to talk to them because of how you think they're gonna react, and like
them ain't your boys.
Yeah, like you know you got to be able to keep it real with your peoples like at all times. Yeah, so like just hold them accountable, y'all.
Real shit.
So in terms of like toxicity, right? I said that right? Toxicity?
Yeah, I think so. I'm an English major.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah. So because again, like me and my like all the stories I got, like me and my roommates. So like we be in the apartment, and then like someone will say something, and then like one of us would be like pause, and like I call them out on it. I'd be like, oh, that's toxic. Just cause like it was like, okay, like that's a little bit of insecurity that I'm spotting, right? And like I understand, you know, like that's like people you comfortable with,
right?
But I just like mess around with them, just call them out on that.
I don't know though. With pause, I feel like pause is so more important now than it ever has been. Just because like people misconstrue what you say all the time, and like especially now with the LGBT movement, like shout out to them for like all the progress that they've been able to make. But like you have to be very clear with people because they can assume like anything about you. So it's like if you say like, oh dang, that shit was mad big in my mouth, like you better say pause just so everybody's on the same page. Like what the fuck is you talking about, man? Like just so that everybody knows like if that's what you're about, of course there's nothing wrong with that, right. But at the same time, like you have to be open about like what you're really talking about. So I feel like pause is definitely something I still keep in my vocabulary, even though I consider myself an ally for a lot of LGBT youth and people in general. So
yeah, because I like honestly I can't remember the last time I said pause. Like I'll be with people and like they say it and I'm just like, because how I see it in my head is like I know what I mean. Like when I say something, I know what I mean.
True.
And like how someone else interpreted it, like that has nothing to do with me. And if they want to assume, then you could do that. But like I'm always here for clarification. There are like some things where like, you know, I will say something and I'll be like, oh, hold on, like let me rephrase it. Yeah, let me rephrase that. But I think like for the most part, I don't know. I don't feel the need to say it because like I know what I mean. Like why? How are you interpreting it as that? Because there are times where like I'll say something, someone will be like, "Oh, pause," and I'm like, "Okay, I wasn't thinking about it like that. Why are you?" And like initially, like it can be like sometimes I really just be like, You saying like you got all this like blocked off energy, like oh, so there are some people that are like, yeah, like I support, because I will say I'm one of these people. I support, you know, like any like whatever your preference is, like yeah. I'm all for that, right? If it happens to me, that's not like I'll let you know, like that's not what I'm here for. Like I'm not. That's not the way I move.
I don't get down like that.
Exactly. But sometimes like there's very like some things where people like some people say pause or whatever, and I'm just like in that situation, it's like you really like your mind. That was the first place your mind went. Like I wasn't even thinking about it like that. Like I said, it's only like certain situations where like that occurs. I'm trying to like think of one.
Nah, I feel you though, because then people start snitching on themselves. Just like every time you say anything, it's just like, oh, pause this, pause that. I had a work environment that was like that. And then like I left work one time and I went to this event, this poetry event or whatever. And like I said the same thing to my boys, like, oh, pause on that. Like, cause I was just at work all day. And they was like, oh, they completely flamed my shit. Like, oh, how was your mind already there? You nasty. Like, oh, how could, like, you already thinking about that shit. Like, I can't be around you. I was just busting my balls type shit. But I was like, with a little bit of toxicity just sprinkled on top. But you know, it's just with the boys, that's just how it goes sometimes. Yeah. But it's hilarious nonetheless.
Yeah, nah, for sure. Like I definitely like I love my dudes, like those are my brothers. I be poking fun at them because that's kind of person I am. I like to mess around with them.
Plus, just fucking with people's a good time.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like
see people squirming and shit. It's hilarious, really. Just see people uncomfortable. I don't know why, but
nah, that's
shit I'm into.
Man, I feel the same way. I was at I went to this place I worked at last year, like a summer program. They had their like the closing ceremonies, and I went and and like I was talking to like two of the staff, and then like one of the students came over and she's like she was just low key like trying to give hugs and stuff, like, but she wasn't trying to make it known that she was like there, I guess. Right. But then we all stopped and we looked at her and she was like, oh, I feel uncomfortable now. I was like, I'm glad you feel uncomfortable. Like that's like that's the point. Like I do like making people feel uncomfortable because like how are you gonna react? I don't know. I just like seeing it.
Honestly, it's like a science experiment or something. Like, oh, I'm gonna put you through the situation and see what you do. Like
for real though.
That's just hilarious.
Man.
Shit.
So, with your children, how do you like, or specifically your sons, like, how do you like, what's the idea that you want to raise them on? Like, is there anything that you would kind of say, oh, like, don't do this, like, in terms of, like, the whole being a man? Like, how are you, like, what does being a man mean to you that you want to
instill in my kids?
Yeah.
First of all, let me make it clear, I have no kids.
Yeah. For in the future, if you do have children.
I do end up, eventually I do want to have kids. I want to have like 7 kids, to be honest. Whoever my wife is, she gonna be a trooper. But leave
a legacy.
Exactly. But as far as my son, the only thing that I know for a fact I'm gonna do for my son is pass down my name, like my firstborn son, because my dad did that with me, and I plan to do that with my firstborn son. But like, as far as parenting with masculinity, it's more so just like, I hope to be an example the way that my father was for me, because my dad never really had to come to me and say like, oh, you don't do this because you're a boy. He just kind of like did his own thing, very quiet, very smart man. But like he doesn't speak much, but once he starts talking, it's a whole big thing. But nonetheless, he was very much so learned by example kind of a person, and I plan to do the same thing with my kids. But at the same time, like when they do come to me with these questions, I do hope to be able to establish a relationship with my kids where they feel safe enough to be able to come and talk to me without feeling judged or like uncomfortable. But overall, I would just want them to be happy and true to themselves. Like if they have any kind of preference towards anything, like I would want them to accept that within themselves and be able to be proud of who they are, no matter who tells them that they shouldn't be or that they should be this way or that way. Like first, your mental health and your own awareness of self are the 2 most important things to me in this life. Like third being spiritual connection. If you don't have those 3 things, then like, what are you really doing? You're kind of just moving through this life blind, essentially. Right. And without that, it's kind of just, you're playing yourself. So I would hope to be able to make that base for them where they feel comfortable enough to be themselves in all spaces that they go. So just reinforce confidence within them and the rest will fall into place, I'm sure. But
Okay.
first, I gotta find a wife. Yeah.
Nah, I hear that. But yeah, nah, I love that answer. Like for real.
How about yourself though? How you gonna do it?
Definitely the same, yo. Like I want them to be comfortable enough to where like they can come to me, cause like I know like my parents, like they're like, even now, like I still don't feel like a little like comfortable enough to go to them.
Hell yeah.
But I definitely like I want that for my children. Like seeing there's just like certain things that like I've seen, and like whether it be like my parents' relationship or like other people's parents' relationships and stuff, that I'm just like I want different for my kids.
Real quick, what's your ethnicity?
So my mother is from Barbados and my dad is from Jamaica.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I was born here, but I know I have a few people that get mad because they're like, oh, how are you Jamaican but you don't speak patois? I'm like, sorry,
I was born here.
Yeah, like I mean, like my dad can speak patois like crazy, like he can turn it on and off. Sometimes I understand him, like sometimes I'll be like, oh, like what, and then he'll say it again and I'm like, okay, like it makes sense. But yeah, like I just never learned. But like I know, like I'm just myself. Like I know I'm American. Like I grew up on hip hop and stuff. Like I didn't grow up hearing soca or dancehall like in my house all the time. Like that is the whole culture, but like that's just not what I grew up on. Like
right.
Hip hop is like hip hop, R&B. Like that's what goes through my veins. Like that's what keeps me sane.
Do you think you stay in America forever?
Honestly, I hope not. Like I've traveled to Japan. I loved it there. I've also been to France. France was dope, but I think Japan was probably like one of the best places I've ever visited. I would love to spend time there, like if I could, because I just think that's like an experience that someone like that everybody should take if they have the opportunity. Just because like their culture is so different from here,
Of course.
and like just learning about that was just dope. So I really liked it over there. And then like when I do retire, like I want to retire to like Barbados or something like that. Like just a nice island, like there's a beach right there and stuff. Like I just want to be able to like, yeah, like I'm done. Like I'm
chilling.
Hopefully, you know, like me and my wife, like we just there, just cooling, just wake up every day like by the beach, something like that.
Sound like a dream to me.
Yeah, you know. So all I can do is work on me and hope that everything I want lines up. You know what I mean? Like even if it doesn't, then like whatever's meant for me, like it's gonna be there.
Already written.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. But yeah, back to the kids thing. Yeah, just like I want them to have that, like that connection with me. I definitely like I'm just gonna love the hell out of them. Like those are my kids, but like I'm also gonna be real with them. Like from the second that they're able to like understand one, what it's like to be African American, like in here, in this country, and then like for my kids, like being a black male, a black female, like just kind of understanding those, like how they're perceived, and stuff, and then yeah, I just want them, like I don't want to spoil them, but like I want them to know the value of everything. But like, yeah, I'm gonna take care of y'all. Like y'all are my kids. I got to.
Ain't gonna have that second family in Barbados.
What's that?
You ain't gonna have that second family in Barbados.
Hey man, that's too much. Nah, but I don't know, man.
I don't know, bro. It makes more sense if you playing.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to write that one down. Nah, but yeah, that's dope.
Yeah, secret families are dope. I definitely feel
so I think we got like we got like a lot of time. I don't know if you have like any other questions about like masculinity or like anything that you kind of want to talk about.
You work with youth, right?
Not. I have.
Gotcha. Do you think that there is more of an increase with different kinds of identities and sexualities, with like obviously masculinity being tied in with like this generation because of knowledge, like being on phones and everything? Or do you think it's just like the times with the youth kind of just like finding more identity within themselves? Like what do you think it is that's causing this change within a lot of young people?
So I definitely think it can be like, most of it I think stems from them looking within themselves and like, okay, like this is who I am, like who they feel comfortable being. But I would say that there are some people who probably who are like on their phone just too much, and they see something, they're like, I want to be like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Granted, like whatever you decide, like that is your decision and stuff, like there's no judgment from me, but it's just a matter of being real with yourself in terms of who you actually are, because a lot of people don't really know themselves. They just see something and say, like, they kind of apply things to themselves and like put standards on themselves, and I don't know, I don't think that they, like I said, like I don't think that people really know themselves. So I think that a good amount of the youth are taking that time to learn about themselves and what they want, who they want to be, all that stuff, and they're saying like, okay, like this is who I am, this is what makes me comfortable.
Right.
Because I can say, like, even for my sibling, like my sister, like I've known her for so long, but like recently, like she just told me like, yeah, like I don't see myself as a gender, like I just kind of like I just see myself as a person, right?
Non-binary.
Yeah, so the proper term that I have to use now is them or they, and like I have no problem with that. It's just like, it's just different because I'm like, wow, like for like 19 years I've been on a mindset of, okay, like that's my sister, right. But now I have to kind of like just reshape my vocabulary a little bit, say like, oh, that's my sibling, and use the pronouns they or them.
Right.
So yeah, like it is an adjustment.
Of course.
But I definitely think it is like that. That's more of a, okay, like looking within myself and understanding.
Right. In terms of like your own kids in the future, if you see them like kind of going down that same path of like being on the phone too much and like noticing someone that they're trying to emulate rather than like maybe being true to themselves, how would you handle that situation? Are you gonna like tell them like, nah, you gotta like find yourself and figure it out, or are you gonna like allow them to kind of figure things out for themselves and like delve deeper into this new identity that they're coming into? How do you think you would handle that situation?
That's a great question. I think that what I would want to do, like I would tell them like straight up, I'd be like, yo, like you shouldn't want to be like somebody else, like you should want to be yourself. Not I wouldn't say it in an aggressive way, but just kind of let them know like, yo, you got to be true to yourself. And then cause how I feel about advice, like I don't think advice really works for some people, like especially myself. Like you could tell me something, like my boy told me about a situation, he was like, yo, like you need to stop doing this because this is how it's gonna end up. And I was like, yeah, I hear you. Just it didn't matter, because like you got to go through it yourself,
right?
You know what I'm saying? Experience. So like I'll tell my children, be like, yo, like don't try to be like anybody else, you know, you got to go through it. And if they do, like I won't be mad, because I understand that you will have to go through something in order to fully understand the reasoning why. Because some, like, even just like sitting in school. Like you could have professors who like talk to you and stuff, or like you could be sitting in lectures and stuff. But I know that I'm not a person like you can't just talk to me and it sticks in my head.
Right.
Like I have to do something in order for me to understand it. So like in a class, like the professor will be like, oh yeah, well this is how you do so and so, right? And then we'll go into the lab and I'll do it and I'll be like, okay, like I understand it now because I've done it myself. And I think that's what I would want for my children. Like I would want them to kind of go through it, to understand. I will give them, like I will tell them, that I don't want them to be like someone else. Again, it is their choice and stuff, but I think that if they go through it, then they'll understand. I forget, there was like a second part to the question. It was like, would you tell them, or would you
let them figure it out for themselves?
Yeah. So I would definitely like do both, I guess. So I would tell them, but like if I see that they're still kind of like following that person or whatever, then I would say, okay, like it's out of my hands. I can't do anything. Like they're going to have to go through it and kind of understand it for themselves.
Okay. Similar kind of question. If you had like a 9-year-old, for example, you have a 9-year-old son, right? And he comes to you and he says, Dad, I want to, identify as a girl and I'd like to have this sex change operation. Are you going to let them do it?
Wow. I think
at 9, mind you.
Yeah, at 9, I don't know about at 9, just because like they're so young. Like they're what is that? That's like what, 3rd, 4th grade, like
something like that. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like that's like I would tell them like, okay, I say wait a few years, see if anything changes. If at least within a year, like if nothing changes within a year, then okay. But it's just honestly like this is this is like a loaded question. I've never
real.
Yeah, but I don't know, at 9 I don't think so. I like, just because they're so like that's like 3rd, 4th grade, and the fact that I don't know, like thinking about that at that age is just like it's a lot.
It's deep.
So I would definitely like talk to them about it and say, just all right, let's wait a year, see how you feel in a year, because if you still feel the same way, then like we can talk about like setting it up or whatever. But if like if a year comes and then they're like, oh yeah, like that's, I don't know what I was saying or whatever, then it's like yeah. But I definitely think like they at that age, like they would need time to kind of like keep experiencing things and see if that's really something that they would want to do, because that's a big decision
for real.
You know what I mean?
Especially at 9.
Yeah. So like that's, yeah, I'd have to make sure that 100% that's exactly what you want, because there's I don't know if there is going back, but like so like I don't even know. So like I don't know. You got to know 100%, but you also like gotta, I'm gonna need reasons, like all that stuff. Like,
right. What age do you think that you'd be cool with them just going off and doing it for themselves though? Like, I agree with you. 9 is like way too young for that, but
I don't know.
Yeah.
What age?
I was thinking about this. I was having this conversation not too long ago with another friend, and I was really thinking hard about it. Like, when would I be okay with that? And I said in the conversation 18 because like they're an adult at that point, XYZ, all that stuff. But at the same time, like that's still like my baby, my child. You know what I mean? So it's just like, to think of them in a different kind of light like that, one would be, a part of my heart would be broken, just because of obviously like that change, that difference. But at the same time, like their happiness would obviously be more important than my own comfort. But nonetheless, it's, I don't know if I was in that situation, it would just be an acceptance thing and just kind of hope for the best. Obviously, like under like 15 and down, I would really just be like, nah, like give it some time. Like really, really ask yourself a lot more questions. But like once you get that 16, 17, it's like you're kind of doing a lot of identity work with yourself already. So it's like, who am I to say like, oh no, you're not feeling that, you gotta do it differently, you know what I mean? So I still struggle with that question myself. It's deep. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Because I was just thinking 18, I'm like,
that's still
18
young.
like legally, you know, they are an adult, but like that's, I don't know, like it'll still like, it would be a hard adjustment. So yeah, I don't know. I don't even know what age I would like give them the okay. Like they would, like, granted, they probably like once they turn 18, they probably like, yeah, well, I'm doing it.
Right.
Like, all right, well,
can't legally stop you, so
yeah. It like, honestly, like if they were to do that, be like, oh, like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. Like, I don't care what you say. I'm be like, okay, like that's fair. Just make sure you got money to pay for it, cause you know. But yeah, like I don't know. Like that's wow.
Kind of to bring it back to the masculinity topic. So you're single, right? Do you think it's a deal breaker for you if like a shorty or a woman comes to you and has like toxic ideals about like the way you should act as a man? For example, like someone says something like disrespectful to your shorty while y'all are out together, and she expects you to just like nose conversation and just like duff them in the face, like, you're supposed to protect me, you're supposed to do this and that. Like, would that be a deal breaker for you, her ideals of what a man should be, and if that's not you? Or would you just kind of try to meld into the mold that she has in her mind? That makes sense? Yeah.
That is a deal breaker. Because I know I don't want a girl who's, because to me that's showing a little bit of insecurity. Like, you're expecting, if you have to expect someone to do something, that's not, first of all, like, that's not right for you. Because I think that, I don't know, that sounded, I don't know how that sounded. That sounded a little weird. But I think, one, in that situation, because I don't fight, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just not, like, that's just not me. Like, what's the point? I don't see a point in it, right? Obviously, if it's my shorty, and like, and I know, like, that's my shorty, like, if I see her as my, like, my queen, my wife, yeah, I'm a talk to him, you know, like, we might like, it might get to that point. I hope it doesn't, but if it gets to that point, it is what it is.
Let me reframe. More so in like terms of like, she says things in terms like a man is supposed to provide, so like you need to have like a bigger paycheck than her, and if you don't, then she's gonna be like, oh, that's why I bought you this and that, like, just throwing that in your face kind of a thing.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a deal breaker, because like, yeah, no, you're not gonna, like, first of all, like, the man shouldn't always have to pay. Like, that's something that I hear a lot, and I'm like, no, you have it, like,
you got a job.
Yeah, so like, if you have money, why am I paying for everything? If I want to pay for everything, I will. But like, if we go out and like, if we go out on a date and stuff, and then they're like, oh, separated together, and like, we're not officially together, and you're like, oh, well, you're supposed to pay because you took. No, I'm gonna pay for my food because I asked you out, but it's my food. You know what I'm saying? Like, I pay for my food, you can pay for your food. Like, if you don't have money, you shouldn't be going out.
Oh,
if I'm being real, like, real. Like, that's because like, that's just me. Like, I
feel that.
I don't know. It can come off as like, oh, you're an asshole. Like, no, I'm just being real. You know, like,
I'm frugal.
Yeah, like, why am I gonna spend money on you? And like I get it. Like, it's a date and stuff, but yeah, like, if we're not together, like, if you're not my girlfriend, if you're not someone I see myself with in the future, there's no point in spending money on you.
So first date, you splitting it down the middle.
Boy. Yeah,
that's fair.
You know, like, I think, well, it depends, because if it's like a okay, like, let's go out kind of thing, but it's not really like a, I don't know. I feel like if it's like just some random girl that I met off Instagram, yeah, I'll pay. But like, if we met up before and like had a dope conversation, like, we connected like right away and stuff, and I'm like, yo, like, I really see myself with you, but I want to like we can take these steps and stuff.
Yeah.
I'll pay for the second one. Like I'll pay.
Okay.
I mean I'll pay for the first date. But like, sorry, I'm like confusing myself.
No, you good.
So yeah, like to show you that like we connected like off rip and stuff. Like yeah, I'll pay for the first date. Cause if I really like you enough, and I feel that it's the same, or not even if I feel like if you told me it's the same, and we've come to that understanding of okay, like we're gonna take these steps to kind of build on having a relationship in the future. Yeah, I'll pay for that check. I don't care. I'll do it.
So if you have a verbal agreement on like a future with it, then you're more willing to pay. But if it's just like a up in the air kind of a thing, where it's like you don't really know where things could end up, you're like, nah, let's split this down the middle.
Yeah, and especially like because I feel like sometimes with like the up in the air things, like that's where it can be the toxic and stuff, and then they're like, oh well, you gotta do this, or you broke if you don't want to pay. No, I have money. You're broke. You're asking me to pay for your. No, that's not how it goes. Nah,
I feel that. You know what a narcissist is?
Yeah.
You think that damn, I forgot where I was going with this. But basically, do you think that narcissism is something that we're getting more people that are narcissists, or more people, like less people that are? Just like in general, no one in particular. I'm going somewhere with this. Go for it.
I think I don't know. It's,
first of all, let me ask you this: what is a narcissist to you? How do you categorize that in your mind?
So, my understanding is like someone that's like always kind of, I guess in a way, like fully selfish, and like their problems are like the main thing. Like anytime you're with them, it's like, oh, my problems. Like you're kind of pushing your problems on other people. I don't know if that's like the right definition, or
I don't even know the definition.
I like that. That's my understanding of it. You know, like just kind of. Let me look it up actually.
The reason why I brought it up was, you know, Red Table Talk with Jada Pinkett. Yeah. So I was watching, and they had like a whole episode on that, and basically like the way that they were describing it, it was as if like mostly like it was a lot of male qualities that I see in like in general, just like a lot of men hold a lot of those characteristics, and how like that can turn like violent and all different types of things when you get into relationships with these people. So I kind of just wanted to first ask the question of like how you conceptualize it in your mind, because like I feel like there's a misconception on what it actually is, and then two, I feel like people kind of get put into this box and labeled as such, and without any prior understanding of like the experiences that they went through. So I mean, I do feel like there are a lot of like budding narcissists, people that aren't like fully there, but they definitely have the qualities and the attributes of it. So like especially like men in particular. So I just wanted to see your point of view on like if you see like more people coming through and with that mindset, or if you have less, just to see if I'm tripping or if this is like something someone else sees.
So what's that? So New Oxford American Dictionary defines it as a person who has an excessive interest in or admiration of themselves. So yeah, I think that I don't know. I feel like there's a good balance, but with social media, like using it in the wrong way can create, like it's creating more narcissists, because people are like, look at me, you know, just always kind of like some people do it in the right way. They're like, okay, like I'm only gonna show you guys this, and stuff. I don't think that's a problem, but to people that are like, oh, well, I have like 3,000 followers, you don't have that many, or like, you know, just stuff like that, where like social media is your main thing. Like if you're focused on being big on social media and like use your social media platforms, like your numbers and well, I get so and so many retweets, and nobody cares, bro. But yeah, like that's where like people become narcissists when they like put value on stuff like that, in my opinion. I think there's a good balance, like, of people who can say, like, who can use social media the right way and or like be on it all the time, and know how to still be
a person.
Yeah, like, you know how to still function and all that. But yeah, I feel like once you bring like social media into the conversation, then yeah, like there's a lot of narcissists.
That's fair. I mean, after I watched it though, like I kind of took a hard look at myself and I was like, damn, I kind of hold some of these characteristics. Not many of them, but like still, like it was just good to kind of take this criteria and kind of like put it on yourself and like use yourself as a measuring stick and just see like what kind of habits do I have within myself that I project onto other people. I would definitely suggest it to anybody. If you have the time, definitely listen and watch it, because it definitely opened my eyes to a few toxic traits that I have in myself. So I definitely recommend it. But overall, it's just, I don't know, especially with like these younger kids, like it's starting to grow a lot. Like it's so much so, like it's like 7-year-olds that are over here like, oh, I got this many followers on Instagram, or like, oh, like, or YouTube pages specifically, like it's like, oh, I need more viewers. Like if I don't have this many viewers by this amount of time, then I don't know what I'm gonna do type. It's just like, what is it about this external validation that we keep putting up on this pedestal? And it's like, obviously we can't blame the kids because they're only watching what's going on in the world and just kind of being a mirror of that. But like what can we do as a society to kind of like let them know, or like not even just a society, as individuals, to like kind of let them know that there's more to life than just what you see on this phone. There's more to life than what other people value you as or like validate you as. Like I don't know. I just consider myself a problem solver. So every time I get these questions, I'm just like, yo, how can we fix this? Like, this is a problem. Like, what are the steps? You know what I mean? Like, if you have any ideas, please. Please.
So I don't even think I have, like,
it's not easy.
Yeah, because how I see it, like, my understanding, like, with this generation that's coming up now, like they grew up with the phones and like strictly on social media and all that. So it's like they're on social media so often because they don't have things that they kind of love to do outside of that. You know, like some like streamers, they play video games, so that's something they like to do. But yeah, like there are people who are like, oh yeah, I need like more followers and stuff. Like I need it. Like, no, you don't. But yeah, I think I don't put anything on them because it's like my understanding of the younger generation is like, all right, they get bashed and stuff for everything, but we're the ones who help raise them. So I think it's like you gotta look at the generation before and see what was wrong there, what could have led to this, right? But definitely like in like with my kids, like I don't want them to be on social media as like I do want them to be like, you know, do whatever, but I think if they start to become like, oh, like, yeah, I have this many, I'm going to explain to them like, hey, like there's a lot more things. Like you don't need validation from other people. Like the most important person you need validation from is yourself. You know what I mean? Like if you have to be right, like within yourself, like at all times, like,
say it again for the people in the back.
You know, like your mind is really everything. And like once your mind is set to place value on all of that stuff, then it's like you're already losing. Yeah, I think that like with certain people, like some people like you can have a conversation with and like explain to them like, yeah, you don't need that validation. Just kind of like tell them about like everything else. Like the main goal of living in this like being present here is one, being present, like actually knowing your surroundings, where you are and everything. 2, just kind of being right within yourself, like being happy with yourself, loving yourself, all that stuff. Like you gotta take care of yourself, because when you feel good, like you do good, you know what I'm saying? So like you gotta like just make sure that you feel good enough within yourself, like you don't need validation from anybody else. You don't look for it anywhere else but within yourself. Because once you have that validation for yourself, I feel like you'll be good, and like everything will just kind of work in your favor. Like you'll be pushing that out into the world, and you know what I mean, like that energy that you give out will be it'll come back.
Of course. That's solid for the youth. Better open up your ears. Come catch this wisdom.
Man. But yeah, so like how do you feel about like giving advice? I just want like, this is like super different.
About giving advice?
Yeah. Giving or getting advice.
I mean, when I'm giving advice, it definitely I was gonna cap. I was gonna say it depends on like if it's someone that's like a mentee or something like that, or if it's just like a random somebody. But I don't know, I kind of always found myself in that position of giving advice to people, and like having them vent or like just tell me about a situation, and like asking how I would handle it, or like what I think on a situation. And I just try to always have a positive outlook, and I know people are like sick of it, but nonetheless, it's just like that's kind of just a mindset that I've adopted over the past couple of years of just trying to really like look at the glass half full, even as corny as that sounds. It's just trying to find the silver lining to every situation, rather than just focusing on the whole shit pile on top of it. Like even if everything seems like it's like your back is against the wall, there's nothing else you can do, you can first affirm yourself and what you know of yourself by grounding yourself. Kind of like root chakra type stuff, but essentially just trying to get back to you so that you can figure out what your next steps are, because really if you're not right with yourself, then you can't really move forward. And like in any advice that I give, that's really like the first thing that I always advise. Like before you make a choice on anything that you need to do, just like check in with yourself first, with like your spirit, your heart, see what that's telling you, and then essentially just follow your intuition. And then from that point, you'll make the right choice, because you've consulted yourself. Like you don't need that external validation from me or anyone else to be able to figure that out. But overall, I enjoy giving advice. Like it makes me feel as like I guess I feel validated in that moment by like having somebody come to me asking for my opinion on something. But as far as receiving advice, it's not something that I ask for often. I have a really bad habit of like just going through things and not telling anybody about it, and kind of just like being like, damn, like this shit sucks.
Same.
But I don't know, I feel like that's also like building a lot of my characters too at the same time. Like I have a very like vast emotional I don't even know the word I'm looking for, like fortress, I guess. It's just like anything that kind of thrown at me, I know how to handle it. It's just a matter of like when I get around to it, kind of a thing. Like for example, this past week was like really tough for me, and I knew that if I went to the gym and like worked it out, I'd be good. But like the whole week I was avoiding going to the gym. I was like, nah, I can't go. But it wasn't until like I really took that time to invest back into myself that I really felt back at peace, where I was able to say like, all right, like if I'm going to handle this situation, then I need to get back for myself. Went home, did what I need to do, took my shower, all that stuff. But then like really sitting down and like plotting like the best moves to make afterwards. So it's really just, for me personally anyway, just trying to figure out the best habits I can make to make my life better for me and like no one else, and just being selfish in this time that I have, because like we talked about before, one day I want to have kids, a wife and all that, and then my life is not my own anymore. So like for this time that I have for myself, I want to make it like 10 times like the best time of my life, because this is all about me right now. Right. So essentially suck at receiving advice, love giving advice, and I don't know, I was be talking my shit.
Oh, that's real. And then so you mind just like talking about like your poetry and like you know like how you got involved? This like it's like a little random. Like I'm just kind of
I got you. No, it's cool.
But yeah, just like a little background on like when you started, you know, like how you got involved, all that.
So about 3 years ago, I was attending UMass Dartmouth. I was in my second year of college, and oh boy, let me tell you how much I hated that school. Like, yo, whew. There's a lot of people that still go there that were there when I went, and the culture, the vibe, like everything. Like, I was at a lot of parties and everything like that, just trying to drown myself out from like my own things that I had going on internally, and just like not being sure within myself of like the things that I was doing. I was in a major that just wasn't for me and all that stuff. I ended up leaving that school. But while I was there and like deep in my depression, I just ended up starting. I was actually in a relationship at the time, and I started writing about my situation with my girlfriend. And that I just kept going and going and going. And when I was done with it, I was like, all right, word, I feel better. And like, I just kept doing that for like maybe a month or two. And then like one time, I was going through my notes, and I was like, oh, I just shared it with my peoples. A lot of women at the time that were just my friends. Still are my friends. But I shared it with them. They're like, yo, this is actually really good. Like, you should think about putting this out to people. And I'm just like, nah, y'all tripping, whatever. But it wasn't until after I left school, I actually got a job afterwards, and it was probably the best paying job I ever had in my life, and I like completely forgot about poetry and all that stuff. But what happened, I got fired from that job like right before the holidays, and then like I was right back where I started, back in the depression, trying to figure things out, trying to get back to basics and everything, and my poetry was there for me. So I started diving deeper into like the things that I'm really passionate about. Like, I have a piece called Black Love, which is all about the title. I have another piece called Her, which is about the divinity of the Black woman, even though I don't always come out and just say the Black woman, but it's essentially just around women. And just the things that like really have a special place in my heart. So because of that, and just being able to express my emotion onto like paper, and just memorizing them and just putting it out into the world, people like the way that I do that. It's kind of just something that I got inherently. I really don't have an explanation for how it all started. It was kind of just like similar to you. I just love rap music, and then from there, just trying to get these weights off of my shoulders. So in taking off these weights, in the end of it, I have these pieces of art that I'm proud of. So that's just how I started.
All right, nah, that's dope. You said that was your second year? Were you
yeah, I went to Curry College the year before that. I hated it so much more than Dartmouth. It was way worse.
That's second year. So did you graduate?
No. I'm still in search of that. One day.
Okay. Yeah. So I don't know. I think the second what year specifically was like 2016.
Yeah, exactly. 2016,
2017. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what it is. I know so many people that was just going through stuff. Like, I know me personally, like, I was also going through stuff. I was in a major I hated, bro. Yeah, I'd like
Summer 16 was no joke.
Yo, who you telling, man?
No joke.
Like, I had just gotten out of a 4-year relationship.
Wow.
What else? Yeah, then like the fall started, and like I was in that like training. I was like, yo, like, I hate this, bro. Like just trying to study and like stay on top of everything. Like, I was driving myself crazy. I was like, yo, like, I should not be feeling this way about school. And then like that's when, I don't know, I went out one night like after work. I was like, yeah, like, you know, like I hit up my boy. I was like, yo, like we gonna get lit tonight. And then like we fucking drank like crazy. But I was like while everybody's, you know, taking shots, I'm over there like taking like sips in between like shots of myself. So I was way ahead of everybody. Right. And then like we was going to like the South Campus because there was like a party over there. And then I remember getting in the shuttle to go there, and then I blacked out.
Sheesh.
Like, I woke up in the hospital type stuff. Like, I didn't have to get my stomach pumped, but like, yeah, bro. Damn. I was going through it, and my roommate looked out for me because he met with the resident director at the time, and he was like, yeah, well, you know, he just broke up with his girl, so like he's going through it. And honestly, like when he told me that, I was like, I bet, like thank you for that, because I wouldn't have known what to say. You know what I mean? So yeah, my back. I was like, yeah, like just kind of went along with that. But yeah, man, that was that whole year, and then I gotten fired from the job I was working at school, because I thought it was gonna be because of the like me getting transported, but it was because it's because like my GPA, it was I think like at the time it was like a 1.6.
Shit.
You know what I'm saying? And that was my low. Like I had failed like classes and stuff, and I was like, yo, like this isn't for me. Like I called my moms. I was like, yo, like I don't know if I could do this. You know what I'm saying? Like I hate it. But yeah, I had my roommate and one of my closest friend. Well, not even my closest friend, but like she was dope. Like we still talk and stuff. Like I call her like my big sister. Like she kind of gave me that. She was like, yo, like you here, so like just finish. Like granted, I should have thought about like the entire situation from my standpoint, and like, cause honestly, if I wouldn't have finished. I would be working right now. I would have a car and stuff. Like I would still be working, you know what I mean? Like just kind of all the time, like to support this. But at the same time, if I had never stayed in school, I probably wouldn't even be doing this. So that's crazy. So like I'm kind of like, I'm really glad that, you know, I had them there to like help me out and just say like, yo, just stick with it. Like you almost done. I finally got that diploma, but I was like, yeah, like it's just like, okay, my name's on this paper for a degree that I'm not even passionate about. You know what I'm saying? So like, yeah, I'm just trying to work, bro. But yeah, like just save up, like do this, like focus on what makes me happy, because at the end of the day, I'm the person that gotta take care of me. So I gotta make sure I'm doing what I enjoy, like regardless of who else likes it and stuff. Like I gotta take care of myself, put myself first. Like that's something that I recently learned. Like when we first started talking this conversation, like that situation, yeah, that's the biggest thing. Like I gotta start putting myself first. Like that's the most important thing. Yeah, so this probably won't even come out till like December.
Damn, bro.
Yeah, but this like, I like this. This is the first time like I had an episode on Monday actually. This is the first time like I've had them in the same week, so it's so different. But like when you had messaged me, you was like, yeah, like we got the episode this week, and I was like, what are you talking about? But yeah, nah, this is dope. Like that, I like this. This is like, it feels good, and like just kind of being able to speak with people. I
appreciate you for giving me the opportunity to come up here and chop it up with you, bro.
Of course, bro.
Like honestly, I really came up to you on some like rando type fanboy shit. So I really appreciate just being able to be here. You know what I'm saying?
No bull, like. I
was like, oh, you that dude?
Because I was with my friend Kaya, and like, he was like, yo, you AK to Don? Yo, when I tell you, like, my ego was like, that shit went all the way up. I was like, yo, that's probably never gonna happen again. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I was basking in that moment. But yeah, nah, like I really appreciate you. Like this is a dope conversation. Like I really like.
I appreciate you more, brother.
I like where your head's at, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like your thought process, like even the questions you ask, like those are really good questions.
Thank you.
I have one friend, who's like, I think you guys are kind of like on the same page. I'd love to have like both of you guys up here.
Oh yeah,
yeah, you definitely gotta come back on here, bro. Like that's Word. Without a doubt.
Much appreciation. Your questions were quite thorough, I might add. Came through with the word.
Yeah, document. You know what I'm saying. I was like, all right.
With the word chart.
Yeah, I was like, let me just like write some stuff down, just see if I could like just try to start somewhere and then see where that goes. Yeah, we kind of touched on everything.
I see what you're doing though. You're doing big things. Like you're making your dreams a reality. I can definitely respect that. You know what I'm saying?
Trying, bro. Like that's all I want to do, man. I just want to
just trying.
You know, that's all you can do. Like you just gotta just do what you can, and whatever happens. Like if it's out of your control, like you just gotta do you, and like everything else is kind of out of your control. But social media, where can people find you?
Follow me on Instagram. It's at Words from Wilce. That's WORDSFROMWILCE. Words and from are just normal, but my first name is kind of complicated. People will be like, Willis? I'm like, that ain't it. It's Wilce. WILCE. But yeah, that's a lot of my poetry's up on my gram, but Twitter, I just be too crazy, so y'all don't get that. Snapchat, I'm actually really in the process of deleting all social media. Like I'll keep Instagram just for like posts and everything like that, but everything else I really gotta get back into it myself. So you probably won't see me on there too much, but still. Yeah.
Nah, I agree. Like I deleted Snapchat. I haven't been on Snapchat in like probably like 2 years now.
Damn.
I deleted Twitter off my phone. Like I deleted because it was on like the frequently visited on my Safari, so I deleted that. Like I try to only, like, Instagram is like my main focus, just so like I can build promo and like build this brand and stuff. Like that's all I'm trying to do. So you went to, CJ? Yeah.
We actually met at Dartmouth. That's the crazy part. Yeah,
so that's.
We had a mutual friend.
Because honestly, like when you had told me like your name, I thought you said Wilce. So I looked up. I was like W. Because I remember like seeing your face like when we followed each other, seeing your profile picture, and I was like, okay, like I just didn't know how to spell your name, so like I put Wili and like nothing came up. I was like, oh shit, like I don't know what this nigga thing. Like I don't know him, but yeah, like I found it. But yeah, like that's dope.
CJ's a dope poet.
Yeah,
like,
man.
He's doing his thing.
Yeah, like all these videos now, like he's doing like over the instrumentals too. I'm like, yeah, bro, do that. But yeah, so I think, like I said, like I definitely want to have you back on here.
Definitely open to it. For sure.
That is everything though. But yeah, this is episode 6. Coming out December, so this is gonna be the last one for the year, bro.
Oh, okay. Yeah, closing out strong.
Yeah, 2019. This is a dope conversation.
Word, I'm glad.
For real though. But yeah, we gonna link again, bro.
For sure.
All right.
A whole vibe. I rocks with it.